Coming down that finish at the end of the race in third place was undescribable.
Schoeman routinely leads World Series races out, sometimes by so far he has to turn and look to see if he's turned the right way.
Everyone back home is screaming at their TVs, cheering for me.
Schoeman and Louis together.
So Henry's pulling away a bit on
Henri Schoeman is maintaining a decent gap.
When I finished the race, I thought I could do another one. I was just so excited.
Is Henri Schoeman.
It was my first major medal, and it's at the Olympics.
Where is Henry swimming to?
I've basically grown up in Durban since I've been about 2 years old, and this is where I call home. My brother and I, we were really enjoying sport from a very young age, and maybe it's because my dad was always involved with sport. He was a very good runner. He got involved with triathlons, went to world champs. That's kind of just been built into us. I'm so fortunate to have my mom, who was always there for us, making sure we were well fed, taken to the swimming sessions 5 o'clock in the morning. So really, really fortunate to have that kind of support.
Come Henry, just a little run, my doll, quickly, pedal.
The Olympics was always a big goal for my brother and I. When we switched on the TV every 4 years and watched the Olympics, that's where we wanted to be. So we wanted to be the best in the sport that we're doing.
Hey, you're looking good, Henry. Go, my doll, it's not far now.
Hearing that national anthem when we were on that podium. So that's what motivated us. That's what drove us to, work so hard. Having Rion as my brother was a huge inspiration to me because I was always following his footsteps. He was excelling in swimming. He went to the Beijing 2008 Olympics, London 2012 Olympics. I wanted to be just like him, and I think that's part of the reason why I got to where I am today, is just seeing what it takes to become an Olympian first of all and be the best swimmer in South Africa. I grew up with Rion. I saw exactly what he was doing. I saw the discipline that it took and the hard work that it took to get him to where it is, and we did that together. We have this competitive nature that we both strive off, and we both pushed each other. I was always focused on trying to get to the Olympics for swimming. I was one of the best swimmers in my age group in the country, but it wasn't going to be good enough for Olympics or to be at the top of the sport. When I won my second junior national title without any specific training, that's when I decided, I need to look into triathlon a lot more than swimming. I started running more, cycling more, but that only brought on my biggest injuries and my biggest setback that I've ever had. Suddenly running after swimming, I didn't have the strength in my legs. I got stress fractures and Boschens at the same time. And it was about a 2 to 3 year struggle that I just couldn't run. That was one of the hardest times of my life and my career. And I thought, maybe it's not for me. In 2011, I actually had a mountain bike crash where I shattered my collarbone. At the time, I didn't think of it, but when I look back now, I see it as a blessing in disguise because it really gave me that forced rest. I was obviously in a sling and I couldn't swim, I couldn't run, but I jumped on the stationary bike, I started cycling. And within 2 weeks, I was running in the pool on the surface. I was doing a lot of footwork, strengthening up the feet. Once I started running, I saw an immediate difference. I improved a lot from before that crash. And since then, like, I just got better and better. I was slowly improving. It was kind of like, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So I was actually going somewhere. And then I found myself, you know, getting onto the circuit in 2013, and I was like there, you know.
Six, 7, 8.
So my dad is my coach. He basically puts together the whole program, and it's an interesting dynamic.
It's actually quite tricky to coach your son because you either coach, but the father aspect sometimes creep in, which can cause a bit of argument. 41. And then you've got the father and the coaching creeping in. So in the beginning days, we had to really differentiate between what is coaching and leave it alone, and the sport and just being a father.
I think we have a really good synergy because we're very flexible. I like to actually train by myself a lot of the times. I just get hypnotized by my own breathing and footsteps, and that to me is what pushes me. And with my dad being my coach, it's a big advantage for me.
The men's equaliser is underway and Henri Schoeman's into the water.
So Henri's pulling away a bit on this one.
It's so cool to have Super League racing. I found the athletes that have been racing Super League have really stepped it up in the normal world triathlon races because it's so short and sharp and fast, and you still get that endurance aspect when you're doing 3 races on a day. I think it also really helps the athletes focus on their weaknesses, because if you have a weakness, it shows in Super League, and you're not going to win the race if you have a weakness. So you really need to be all round, and I think that's great.
Schoeman and Louis together and attacking is Henri Schoeman. And the hands in the air for Henri Schoeman. And why not? He has had the race of his life here, has led from the front. And despite feeling
My build-up to Rio was actually really good. I pushed my body to new limits that year, and I felt like I was in the best shape ever, and that gave me so much confidence for the Olympic Games. On that start line, I wasn't even thinking about anything. I was just so happy that I'm on the start line and I'm going to race the Olympics. Obviously, with not the ideal preparation the week before, I was a little bit sluggish. So I mean, my swim was like really average. I wasn't towards the front, but I was out the water about 7. And then I screwed up my transition so badly. I couldn't get my helmet in. I probably stood there for about 15 seconds just trying to clip in my helmet clip. I told myself, just calm down, just do it again slowly, and that's when it went in, and I was now down to like about 30th. I was really pushing as hard as I could. I was passing guys on that first uphill. I could see the break in front of me about 10 seconds up, and we had this downhill technical section. I probably risked my life going down there, and it was the next slight rise where I caught that breakaway group. I was the last one to latch on, and there were, I think, 9 or 10 of us in that group. So that was one of the pinnacle points of that race. Suddenly I get off the bike and I'm running in 4th. And I'm like, wow, you know, I'm at the Olympics and I'm in 4th. That's just crazy. I'm running this first lap. Both Brownlees and Vincent Louis is in front of me, maybe about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And Vincent Louis starts falling off after 1 lap. So I thought, well, is this my time to maybe surge and try and catch him? And I felt like he was struggling a little bit. As soon as I caught him, I surged and I got a gap. I can't tell you the feeling that I felt when I had that gap on him. I suddenly got these like goosebumps. Everyone back home is screaming at their TVs, cheering for me. Coming down that finish at the end of the race, like in 3rd place, was, it's indescribable. It's just so emotional. But at the same time, like when I finished the race, I thought I could do another one. I was just so excited. So I still remember, like, is this really happening, you know? It was my first major like medal, and it's at the Olympics. It just gave me that confidence that I needed, and I think that's why I just continued to improve to where I am today.